From the center of the galaxy, this is ForceCenter, show about Star Wars, pop culture, and the ultimate adventure, life itself. I'm Ken Napzok.
I'm Jenn Landa.
And I'm Joseph Scrimshaw, and I have a cold, so I apologize for my weird voice and perhaps frequent muting this episode.
You could mute your way through a Monday. That's all right, or a Tuesday release day. Happy New Year to all of you. The New Year's approaching, and that's one of the things we're going to be doing today. We're going to take a look at 2025 through Jenn's eyes, because we, Joseph and I, being the we, got to do that on the live stream Friday. Thanks to everyone who tuned into that. A lot of fun. Yeah, I got nothing else on that other than it was fun.
It was fun, and I had more hopes than I realized, so that was a nice discovery.
Yes. Jenn, are you primed for some hopes? You got a lot of hopes for us at the end of the show.
I had to really dig deep on the hope. There's a lot on the horizon. That I'm not so sure about. So
there you go.
I'm digging deep.
We'll dig
That's
deep.
What hope is for.
That's right.
That's right. Next couple of years, we'll need a lot of hope. We're gonna deal in hope here. Before we get to that, and a little bit of news, there wasn't much out there for the holiday week, but we're gonna talk about one story and talk around the story as well. More on that in a second. Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/ForceCenter. Over 180,000 titles. Over 100. I didn't say any of the syllables in that sentence. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. We are recommending, or at least I should say I am, because I slipped this in last second this morning, Crimson Climb by E.K. Johnston, the Kira book. And I have not read the book yet. So you could get ahead of me. It's on my shelf. It's waiting for me. You can get ahead of me by downloading your free audiobook today by going to audibletrial.com/ForceCenter. Again, that's audibletrial.com/ForceCenter for your free audiobook. The reason I chose that is I am 3 or 4 days into finally playing Star Wars Outlaws. Been updating along the way. I won't do that for the rest of my existence in the game. But I am still good with Crimson Dawn, though I keep getting into blaster fights with their agents when I try to sneak into their area. It's very complicated.
Do they not give you any sort of credentials that you can say of like, I'm a Kira stan, let me in?
You kind of. You walk into the front and the guards, they all look like Eamon. They're dressed like Eamon, and they're all like, she's with us, she's good. And you walk in, but the moment you try to do anything, they start shooting you. Because I haven't reached that high yet, I guess.
Got it. You need privileges yet. Well, yes. I'm glad you put in this recommendation because it reminds me that it is one of my Star Wars priorities this year to read that book.
It is me with me as well. So that is that. That is our Audible, but we do have an update on our asks. We've been asking a lot of things on Patreon lately, Joseph, and goals have been reached.
Yeah. We have been focusing on Patreon because it is the biggest pillar of support that we have, and pretty much always and probably forever, and we really, really appreciate it. We had a goal to get to 415 patrons, which we reached a little while back, and we're going to do a special patron-only live stream in the new year. And then we wanted to get to 420, so we threw that out there, and we got to it fast enough that we didn't have time to discuss what we'd do when we reached 420. So we'll do something also special soon and get on top of our goals. This is, I really like that ForceCenter feels also like my life, where we're kind of skidding into the end of the year, just a little messy, just barely holding on to things, just skidding in there like, we're okay, we made it, we're here. My shirt's untucked and I only have one shoe, but we made it. And it feels that way a little bit with the world and with us. We'll get there.
We all feel like we're the Falcon crash landing on Savareen. Just pieces flying off. Or the Onyx Cinder landing at a luxury spa, just trash dumping out of it, smoke coming off of it. It's all there.
Waste removal for that.
Yeah, indeed. Before we dive into news, if we've had any Star Wars Life Adventures, we'll share them. Other than, I guess mine, I'll go, is just playing Outlaws and just having fun. And I'm still really good at what they call Kessel Sabak. I put a good hour in last night playing Kessel Sabak, and there's a little luck, some strategy to get to Pierce Sabak or Prime Sabak or playing. I'm having the most fun in the game doing that, which is, I think, secretly been my dream for a long time. Since Solo: A Star Wars Story. Quite frankly, Joseph, since you and I went to that Denny's event at the Calcap, I've been wanting to play Sabak. And I have. That's my adventures. Jen?
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad because I saw you in the Discord saying I may have to get this. You guys are tempting me, so I'm glad that you got it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Skeleton Crew. My family watched it.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
Thankfully, my 5-year-old fell asleep, which I was glad because there was a little bit more. I don't know. I can't even remember now. It's been so long. Violence, or it just seemed it was more intense, is what I would say. My 9-year-old, I kept having to remind her. She was getting really upset, and she's like, "Are people going to die? Are people going to die?" And I'm like, "Nobody. Our heroes are not going to die. It's going to be okay." And then when a lot of questions, like with the acid moment, where that happened, she's like, "Wait, did they die? Are they dead from the acid?" My husband and I were like, "Well, they lived kind of ambiguous. Maybe they did."
They were scared by it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So to
It
see
just got
her
grazed by the acid.
grazed, exactly. Yeah, not all of them are dead. So yeah, it was just really interesting. And to see her disappointment with Jod turning to become a villain, she was like, "What?" She was really upset. So it was great to see it through her eyes, and she really enjoyed it, and is very sad that there's only 3 episodes left.
Same.
Are you guys gonna watch it tomorrow night?
Oh my gosh, it's tomorrow night. Shoot, what is today?
Well, as we
Monday?
record, yeah,
Oh
Monday
my
as we
gosh.
record.
I don't even know. Everyone in my family is sick. Tis the season, I guess, right? Maybe we'll try and watch it. Maybe. Wait, what's tomorrow? Is tomorrow New Year's Eve?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I had that too.
There you go. That's where we are here.
It's 2024 as we record.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. I had that too. My landlord's gonna get the rent when she gets it because I was like, I've got 3 or 4. Oh no, I don't have 3 or 4 more days. No, the year's over. Oh, the year's over. It's okay, Jen. We'll get you through it.
Yeah.
We'll get you through
you.
it. Well, Joseph, can you top those life adventures?
No. A child's logical questions about acid, asking the hard questions about acid. I can't top that. No, I had a pretty relaxing holiday time with my wife, which has been very nice. We've both been very busy, so I haven't had much time together. So we've been having some nice fun watching some holiday classics, and in particular, rewatched "It's a Wonderful Life," which is not only one of my favorite holiday movies, but just one of my favorite films. Period. And I don't think it was a huge influence on Lucas or Star Wars because in his childhood it was pretty much a forgotten film. But man, sometime when we start talking about other films, just how much of sort of Jedi philosophy is involved in George Bailey's life and what the film argues for, and I think in particular in the prequel era when Lucas really sort of solidified, I want to talk about the Sith as greed. I want to talk about evil as greed, is wanting everything for yourself and nothing for anybody else. It's just Potter is a Sith. He's a Darth Potter.
Potter.
Down to, I know there's the great Saturday Night Live sketch where they add the forgotten ending to It's a Wonderful Life where they go and kick Potter's ass.
Right.
Which is really funny because from almost a modern screenwriting standpoint, you watch that film, and spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen It's a Wonderful Life, it ends on this beautiful coming together of community. And there isn't any dealing with what happens to Potter. There isn't we defeated Potter and everything is fine. It's that this one man's life was made better by community, and you're left with the implication that the community is strong enough to continue to resist the threat of Darth Potter. And there's something about that that's even to me very, very Jedi-like and very Star Wars-like, of like, you don't kick the dark side's ass once and live happily ever after.
Right.
It's always a thing to be fought. There's always a Darth Potter around the corner.
I love it. This is what we'll have to dive into this film around this time next year. Maybe we'll do it for a holiday review. I have not seen it in a long time. But I'm part of that. I think we're all part of that generation that benefited from this movie playing over and over again in syndication, which made it the classic that it is. But you're right. That's part of the fun history of the movie. Is back then, not a lot of people watch it.
Nope. Pretty forgotten in the Capra oeuvre.
Yeah, indeed. Well, fascinating stuff. It is this time of season. Let's dive into some Star Wars news while we have it. Also, no, actually, I have a note from, read your own notes, Ken. It's New Year. You're going to read your own notes. I want to tell everyone up front that Joseph and I will be on a comedy show. That's right. My Hot Burbanks night show, January 10th, Flappers, Friday night, Yoo-Hoo Room. I was just there last night. Like you always say, Joseph, it's just the best venue there. It's just it's the right size. It's an intimate crowd, a lot of energy, and had a great show last night. But we're gonna have a better show on January 10th. Joseph Scrimshaw on the show, Winston A. Marshall, Karen Haber, Elisa Phillips, Lisa Gottman, and myself headlining. If you're local, come on out and tell us if you're heading. Leave a comment saying, "Hey, I'm heading out to you on January 10th," and we'd love to see you there. So. More information at the end of the show on that. But let's get to the news. This is a rumor mill look here. Sean Levy rumors. I don't know. And the shady art of the scoop is something we might talk about here. Like I said, almost no news. I wouldn't expect it. It's a holiday. We go through this all the time. But this rumor whipped around the world. It emerged that the Sean Levy Star Wars project, which co-written by Jonathan Tropper, that name, that novelist, writer of one of my favorite novels, Plan B, that's out there. That's official enough in the sense that we know that they are working on it. But it's heading to set in fall of 2002, says the story that went around, and the filming would take place in the UK. The rumor goes on to say that Levy's story has been changed from his original pitch to now include a younger Rey as a mentor instead of an older Rey in the far-off future. And that's the rumor. The source is a leaker, a scooper, a movie news reporter who posts the stories on his Patreon page. You can pay to get them. And I did do a deeper dive, and I'm not here to cast stones, throw darts, fling darts at someone's career, what they decide to do to make money, but this person has been accurate in the past on release dates and other little minor stories maybe, but those are stories that they post on social media for the public. The stories published behind a paywall are, shall we say, less than accurate. Some final things here, and I'll let you all dive in here. Levy has spoken publicly about this proposed Star Wars movie and made it very clear it would be a standalone idea. There's interviews out there, I think, with Josh Horowitz, and he wanted to avoid eras and timelines that have already been explored. Don't know exactly what he means by that, but he has not said one word on plot and casting, the characters, and final thing here, there's still no official Lucasfilm acknowledgement of this project, at least that I could find that is big and trumpety. We're doing this. So anyways, Joseph, we'll start with you here. Go where you want to go, of course. But I want to address the story because it was being talked about. It's interesting. Some of it makes sense. But what's plausible about the story to you? Where do you go with this?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this whole Sean Levy movie has been difficult for me because I think he's very talented, and I'd be excited to see a film by him. And I know he has fans who are very excited by him, but Lucasfilm has not announced this, and it's been one of those headline games where there are big headlines talking about this as a certainty, and it might be because he's a big power player and he just had a massive win for Disney. So, yep, it might absolutely happen. But this, if somebody involved in film wanted to test the universe with media literacy in film and television news, this is the trap they would set because it is so loud and so clear that it's happening, and so likely because he's frankly very talented and powerful, but it is not confirmed. So I think for me, I'm always trying to find tortured by discussion of this, because I'd be happy if it happens. It'd be cool if it happens, but they haven't announced it. And I think part of that is we'll talk more about it, but Sean Levy playing the Hollywood game really well of using his talent, his success, and his influence to just keep saying out loud, I'm doing this, and it's sinking into people that yes, he is, but it has not been confirmed. And your question was what sounds plausible about this story. I think that some of these the scoops that come up that are like concrete, like a date or a show that's already announced and this character is going to appear, like those things are like, well, somebody got the information from somebody involved in the production, but they're kind of they're firm, right? Things like what is the story in the draft and how old is a character in this draft for a film that isn't announced, that is in development, which means the script isn't actually even done. those things always feel like there's probably a kernel of truth, but they feel like the old telephone game. And I have no idea if kids play the literal telephone game that I was made to play in school, both for fun and to demonstrate this, where the kids get in a circle, right? And the teacher whispers a sentence or two in one kid's ear, and then every kid whispers it to the other. And by the time it gets back to the end of the circle, it has been slightly misheard or sometimes manipulated by a bad actor, which is also legitimate, to the point where it only has kind of a relationship with the original statement. Yeah. When you ask me what's plausible about this story, like, Sean Levy wants to do a Star Wars movie, and at one point, that's someone involved heard that maybe Rey would be involved in it, maybe. So this could be dead accurate. It could be the best version of the telephone game ever, or it could be inaccurate. And just to put a real world spin on that, I do think some of these scoops come from not somebody called up Kathleen Kennedy and she wants to place this rumor. That's how things end up in trades. When somebody who knows the truth wants it put out there, they'll put it in the trade. I think some of these kind of scoops are somebody's assistant had lunch with somebody else and said a thing that they heard. So the information that the scooper received is what they received, but is it valid from inside the actual studio?
Yeah. Or is it just screams of children in the background coming through? Okay, no, Jenn. To me, what's possible is that Sean Levy is working on a Star Wars film. That's where the possibility kind of ends. And it is so, you're so right. Some of these stories, this is where it comes from. Like, over the years, all three of us have heard things, and if we were in the scoop game, we could probably have some fun with it. And it's always things like, I had an old improv buddy of mine be like, "Yeah, my friend just got cast as he's like Boba Fett." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Yeah, he's like in the armor. His name's Brendan Wayne. He's like John Wayne's. He's just like, I don't know." I'm like, "Wait, what?" I'm just like doing this like, like that's how this stuff kind of happens, or you're hiding in trash cans, and then what are you hearing in that trash can? I don't know. Jenn, first of all, thing I want to know from you: were you the kid in school playing telephone who intentionally tried to be funny and mess up the story?
No, but I can confirm that they still play that game in kindergarten. They still do. And it's always hilarious to hear what they have heard. This is something I think you're so right, is about media literacy. And like, it's about how quickly news moves, right? The news cycle is so fast, nothing really stays anymore. Even like the biggest, most like dramatic thing is gone within a couple days. So this is something where I didn't even have time to go and research. I'm like, wait, did Lucasfilm ever announce a Sean Levy project? No, right? It's just been him like tweeting and like, or him with one tweet, I think it was, right?
Yeah, and an interview. He's on the Josh Horowitz show, I believe, was where some of these quotes come from. So he's out there. But again, I'm searching right now to just even double check and triple check.
I have no doubt that it is in development, because he talks about it often. I have no doubt that he has had meeting and it's on the table as maybe we'll do this film, and that he is working away. He and Jonathan are working away on a script, and that they're having conversations. But all of that has no relationship to whether it will exist, because Lucasfilm hasn't said yes or no. So I think he is very talented, and I'd be thrilled if he made a film. But he's going around talking about interviewing for a job. He hasn't been hired for the job yet.
Right. He's pitching himself, and he's pitching it to the audience, who's like, yeah, we want a Sean Levy Star Wars project, I mean, plausibly, I could see this happening, just because I can't, like, the Rey movie, to me, it feels like it's stalled. I don't know. I mean, just from like all the kind of things that have been coming out slowly, I don't feel like there's much traction, or they're like reworking the script, right? I don't know what's going on. So yeah, maybe I could see this filming, but I don't. Oh my gosh, there's more screams. Okay, I'm gonna mute myself.
It's totally okay, Jenn. I'm just teasing. It's totally great.
They're just playing acid. It's fine.
They're just playing acid. Yes. Things they learned.
Sorry.
That's great. Jenn, and by the way, I'm looking up right now, and I was trying to find the most recent quote unquote official news, and it's from July, and I'm just doing a Google search. And Deadline's reporting this. Deadline's what would call a legacy trade still, maybe, but this is the story of him and working with Jonathan Tropper. There's some quotes from him and everything, but this is a reach out to Lucasfilm, no comment. And the source is another person who is a movie news reporter who's independent, who kind of goes on shows and just says things confirmed or unconfirmed, and some might be true, some might not be. It's not about that. It's not a question of questioning their integrity. It's just this is what they do. That's the source for the legacy trade, is this one individual going on a YouTube show. And that's at the bottom of the page. After you read all this, like, oh, yeah, they are doing this. Well, again, I think we all three can agree. There's probably something on the table. There absolutely is. But that, again, is the source. This legacy trade is sourcing one dude on the internet.
And that's really the difference nowadays, is that like they need content to fill their website. They need to have views on their website. And so maybe there is a kernel of truth and they can kind of blow out a story from that. But like, I think everyone's kind of understanding like, well, it may happen, it may not. Whereas like if you actually printed it in the trades, delivered to studios, people could get in trouble being like, what do you mean this project is not happening? Or like this meeting was secret. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that now it's everything, as you guys have said before, gamified, right? It's just like, it's just a very different environment for entertainment news.
Yeah, and I think we've said this over the years too, but I think I want to highlight it going into a new year. It's like, then it's fun to discuss this, and we can discuss some of the ideas here, maybe what sounds off about it. I think there's some things about that. It's no doubt fun to discuss this, but I think in this world, this being treated as fact, and then the next part of the discourse is when this quote doesn't happen, it's another failed project. It makes a Screen Rant article, a listicle on Star Wars failed projects, and it was never that, I hope it happens if it's happening. I'm not taking work from anyone away. I'm not rooting for anybody, rooting against anybody, but that, and I know that maybe is something we've banged the drum on before, but that's where I want to address it going into this new year. Like maybe we all push past this as a fandom.
Yeah, I mean, I will say for this one specific rumor, all that said about this is, I think he's absolutely working on something, and I think he is working hard and using the leverage of his, I think, great Deadpool and Wolverine film to make this happen. And so it might, because power speaks. And he has it right now. That it might absolutely happen, and maybe the filming in 2025 is a successful push to say, my film is ready to go, my name is bankable, my film should be the next one. Let me use Rey, then you can get around to your Rey thing, if the Rey thing's the Rey thing is the thing that sounds most off to me. Yes. The possibility of his film getting the official green light, being officially announced, and being next up on the docket after Mandalorian and Grogu doesn't sound that off to me, because I think Hollywood, and particularly big budget tentpoles, are in danger of retreating toward safety, which means a proven director that we have a relationship with.
Yeah, that's the next kind of area of discussion is what sounds off, and for me, what sounds off is just, number one, he's spoken publicly about kind of what he would want to do with the film. And I'm not saying that couldn't include Rey, but this is a mishmash of every rumor we've heard over the last 2 years. Oh, it's an older Rey. It's Helen Mirren, his mentor Rey. That was going to be this film, and that's got changed. And now this. And it's like, yeah, this is all talk about telephone with the Kinberg trilogy emerging and like Jen's addressing the changes, or at least the writing changes with the Rey film and all that kind of stuff. And we don't have concrete evidence. We have Daisy Ridley and director Shameen Ben-Chinoy walking out in London, and we have Daisy talking about updates are coming. That's other than the writers changing. Other than that, there's nothing. There's nothing official. Obviously, they're working on it hours every day on this thing. But that's what sounds off. Is this story is like, hey, he's working on a film, and hey, I got a rumor. It's a collection of all the rumors you've heard over the last 2 years. It's just this one story, and that's where it sounds off to me. Jen, I don't know where your off meter goes.
It sounds like a kid who's making up a story where it's like, it's the Force with the connection and power. Like, It's like, okay, yeah, that's Star Wars. I mean, I don't know. It just was like so generic the way that it was kind of all pulled together, like you're saying, like a mishmash. And I understand like nowadays people have to put things behind the paywall, at least in news,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
I really like Puck Media. I like the reporters that work there. I can never read their articles because you have to be a subscriber to be able to access it. But they tweet out the articles, they tweet out the headlines, and I read a little bit that I can. To me, I find problem with the fact that he's putting this behind a wall on Patreon, because then nobody can hold him accountable for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want, but if you tweet that and you put that out there or whatever, you post it on Blue Sky, people will be able to be like, hey, remember you said this was so wrong and blah blah blah. But if you put it behind a paywall, I feel like it's less likely for him
Yeah.
to be held accountable for stuff that he's potentially making up or
Really agree.
embellishing, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's pretty good grift.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm
No.
sorry. I get it. Everyone's fighting for theirs, right? And this is the
Yeah.
world that we live in. And anybody can be a reporter or a journalist. You don't have to go to journalism school. You don't have to learn ethics, right?
How does your award-winning journalist father think of this, Jen?
My dad, he started this rant long ago with like the local news, and he's like, oh my gosh. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty shocking, actually. But that's how people make a living. So
Yeah.
they're doing something right, I guess. I don't know.
There we go. So say at the end of the day, yeah, this could be all 100% accurate. This could be anything, but it's the game. It's the game that's being played, and we don't want to say anyone out there don't have fun thinking of these rumors, looking at these rumors. I click on a lot of rumor stories too, just to be like, okay, let's see. But then you kind of see it, and it smells.
Yeah, I mean the thing about what sounds off is, for me, it's less about I don't think this little telephone game factoid is false about Rey. It's more, I really don't want it to be true. It sounds off to me on an emotional level. The younger Rey as a mentor sounds off to me in terms of just what I want as a fan, because I think it really that steps on the actual loudly, proudly announced project
Right.
by Lucasfilm with Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy and Daisy Ridley. Maybe there's something internally. Maybe there's a little bit of a Lucasfilm has one project, and maybe Disney's like, but actually, let's go with this known quantity who just had a really big hit with us. I don't want the Rey stuff to be true, because it puts those projects in competition with one another potentially. And there's something that's really interesting to me about a film about Jedi far, far, far in the future, and Rey is 100 years old and played by Helen Mirren or a Muppet. I don't even care. But the idea of like Rey is not the main character. She is very much in a Yoda, Obi-Wan in the original trilogy role, very much a mentor, and our whole focus is on this younger generation. That would be a perfectly interesting film to me, but I feel like what's been announced is a film where Rey is at least as big of a focus as her students, right? And it's interesting to me because Daisy Ridley is the right age for that. As I've gone on about, I feel like all three of the trilogies are about the protagonist taking their first step into adulthood, deciding who they're going to become. Anakin makes a bad choice. Luke and Rey make a good choice. They're fully formed. They're looking out the horizon. They're ready to have their adventures. And now I want to have, we've had a ton in publishing, but in a big film, I'd love to have just, here's Rey's fully formed. She's a Jedi. Now she has to make all those hard Jedi choices. And I really want to see a focus on her as a character. And my preference would be for the announced film of that to go forward, because it is, if the Sean Levy film never happens, people will blame Disney, but they'll be wrong because it's not announced. If this Rey and New Jedi Order film falls apart, that is egg on Lucasfilm's face, because they announced it loud and proud at Star Wars Celebration with Kathleen Kennedy on stage. And I want for them to be able to follow through on the things they announced. So I want that movie with Daisy Ridley to come out, and ideally with Charmin Obed-Chinoy, because as we've talked about, I don't have anything where only certain people can write certain things. I am a man, and most of the stories I write have a woman as the main character. I have no doubt that Sean Levy could write an amazing Rey movie, but I kind of just want a woman to be the director of this film. It was announced that way, and I want to see it that way. Is my desires.
I would agree with that. And if there's any worry I do have is that Disney as a studio will feel more likely to make a Sean Levy happy than a Sharmeen Obed-Chinoy. We saw that recently. It's more likely that you're going to make John Watts happy versus Leslie Headland. It's not a comparison of the two shows, but just looking at the business, sometimes what happens.
And I feel like Sharmeen Obed-Chinoy is like, she's an Academy Award winner. She's not some, slouch from nowhere. But she hasn't made a big tentpole film like this, and I feel like it's the more interesting choice. This is where Star Wars came from. A guy with only a couple films under his belt, a huge risk, and a bunch of mostly unknown actors that were also. Star Wars came from big, dangerous swings. So take some big, dangerous swings to give life to it.
Damn it. You needed to damn it on the end of that.
Damn it. Thank you.
just like your dad probably did on the news desk, Jen, right? Damn it. No? Okay.
He's pretty chill.
So he would have said really nicely, please give me some pictures of Spider-Man. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Any final thoughts, Jen, on this one as we look ahead to 2025?
I long for the days of like the National Enquirer where it was clear that stuff is, like fake or just like trash. Or maybe there sometimes is a little bit of truth, but now we have tons of National Enquirers and I don't have the time to suss out what is real. What maybe there's a little bit of truth, whose assistant talked to whose assistant, right? I don't have time for that. And so I think going forward in 2025, I'm just going to be like zen about the whole thing. And when Lucasfilm announces something, great. Until then, I'm going to treat it all like, the trash stuff at the supermarket.
Love it. Love that. I agree with that. There are no listening
Ken,
people.
do you have any thoughts on the Rey part of the story?
I'm with you. I just don't think it rings. It all makes sense in terms of she's a character we want to center things on, and we've heard those stories. But I'd rather see it play out in this so-called Rey movie, the New Jedi Order film. And I think I have to be honest that I have a little bit of I'm defensive of that film with stories like this, where I do worry that Sharmeen Obed-Chinoy could be pushed out. I do worry that there could be problems. I don't necessarily think there is. All the changes so far, the writers and everything seems relatively normal. There's just a little bit of that track record issue with Lucasfilm that I know we all want to acknowledge that those fears. And again, I have nothing against the guy. Like I said, I like a lot of the stuff, love the Deadpool stuff, Stranger Things, everything. And I also, by the way, love his excitement for Star Wars. It's real. It drips out of every interview with him. But I think that's a little bit of the story too. It's just I'd like to see what they got going with Rey, and if it rolls into Kinberg trilogy or all these other things, and maybe Levy's film's not going to be part of the. But I don't know. All that's a bunch of chess pieces being moved on a board. I don't play. But yeah, center a Rey story, and let's do that. Let's do what's announced. Otherwise, why did I fly to London?
Yeah. Jen, do you have any thoughts on the Rey element of the story?
Yeah, I do have some worry that Sharmeen Obed-Chinoy is getting pushed out, and be it like, creative differences, or we couldn't make it work, whatever it will be. I do worry about that, and it makes sense so that they want to have a Rey movie or Rey involved in some way. She is our most popular character, and it would be a smart business move. But yeah, that'd be a shame.
It would be a shame. Well, that's all in the future. That's all in the future. But Jen, we wanted to give you some time today to look ahead to 2025 since we got to do it on a live stream. So yeah, let's do it. I should do some fancy graphics. Jenn looks ahead to 2025. How are you feeling about 2025 as a Star Wars fan?
I'm tired. I feel like, I mean, coming before Skeleton Crew, I don't want to say I was over it, but I was just like, wake me up when something happens, right? Because all this news cycle, the rumors and all that stuff can become exhausting, and it makes me feel like we've talked about defensive for my Star Wars. Like, no, they've got it under control. Leave them alone. Let them do their thing. But Skeleton Crew has come around, and it feels like this small little flame that's been lit within me. I'm wondering, I don't know like what the numbers are for the show. And I wish it was getting better word of mouth. Granted, I'm not around like my kids at school. They're not in school right now. I'd be curious to ask some of the kids at their school if anybody is watching it, because that's usually my gauge of kind of what's hot. I think it's doing well, but I wish it was getting better numbers, is my point. Regardless, it's rejuvenated my spirit, and I think it's rejuvenated a lot of people's spirit, and it gives me hope for where Star Wars is headed. I think that it's a great show. I think that they're learning lessons in-house about what's working, and I think that every episode has been fantastic. So yeah, the show has made me remember why I love these stories and how they can resonate with both kids and adults, right? And that's really been thrilling to see every week.
It's just kind of fun to feel that way again. And I'm not suggesting that you completely lost it or what. It just we've shared some of those feelings of the last couple of years as Star Wars fans, but it's good to be like, oh yeah, this is fun.
Yeah. I mean, we've all talked a lot about, just by the nature of the shows that ended up getting lined up, we've been dealing with a lot of characters who are either kind of grim and don't express themselves emotionally, or characters that we love who are full of life, who are going through a midlife crisis. Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, we got to go through a midlife crisis with both of them. You know, Boba Fett and Din are things, really close to the armored vest. So I think that's a part of Skeleton Crew too, of just like, these are all quite expressive characters. Even Jordan Nanawood, whose action figure is over there now, he's going through all those emotions, playing them very clearly on his face. In this last episode, getting to be expressive like a child, and I think that makes a difference. I think some of the even if you didn't grow up with the original Star Wars trilogy as your Star Wars trilogy, that some of that whiz bang energy and wisecracking and all that was a part of the sort of the initial fire of Star Wars. Of, it's got all these big ideas, but it's fun and they're expressive. And Skeleton Crew is so tapping into that, of like, these are big ideas and there's a range of emotions, but it's fun and the characters are expressive.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, I'm glad you have that feeling going to 2025, Jenn. That's it's a good feeling.
Yeah, it's ending on a happier note than I think where we both kind of were, And I think some of it too is like the residual effect of like the strike, right? And just like the state of the industry, and just seeing how things are changing and not to my liking. And it just took this little show, I'm going to call it this little show, to come around and be like, no, this is why why stories are powerful. So.
Yeah. I agree with that. What are you looking forward to the most in the next year in terms of Star Wars? Not in terms of finishing school or getting a week off or something.
I can't wait till I finish this post-bac program. I'm really looking forward to like a real announcement. And I'm not talking, because that Star Wars Celebration is coming, right? Tokyo? Coming up.
Yeah, soon.
I'm not going to trust anybody trotting out on a stage anymore. Don't
I agree.
Don't give me that.
I
don't want to see it. You know what I want to see, you guys? I want to see paparazzi photos from the set of like Adam Driver in Ugg boots drinking a latte. That's what I want to see, with like a parka coat, right? Those are the kinds of things I want to see, like old school stuff. I want to see people on a set. I want to know filming is happening, where it's happening. Give me that. Give me something to actually chew on, because that's when the fun happens. That's when like the real speculation begins, and we can all nerd out. Oh my gosh, why did they cast this person? And what is this story possibly going to be? And how does it relate to the bigger canon? That's like what we do as Star Wars fans. And it just feels like kind of right now we've just been spinning our wheels. And I don't mean just us, I mean like in general, because we've gotten these like leaks and rumors, but there's really nothing there, or like we think something is there and then nothing happens, and it's just not fun. So give us something concrete, or give us a teaser of like behind the scenes. Hey, surprise, we've been working on something. Can you imagine? That's what I'm looking forward to.
There's something you're saying that makes me, again, we're not saying that set photos and leaked set photos and everything is what we want, but like. You take me back to that 2014 era, and I get it's a different era. We can never go back to Star Wars is back, but and I don't know if it's Lucasfilm team, the JJ team with his 0 follower Instagram account or whatever it was, or 1 follow, but they would post. There was enough there that like, ooh, what is that? And the infamous and famous black and white table read photo, which I say infamous because it created some great discussions, but famous because it got our excitement going. Like, there's a lack of that. Even with like the Mandalorian and Grogu is done with principal photography, and I'm not talking about set leaks. I'm just talking about there wasn't like Favreau didn't even post something this time. Remember Favreau's Instagram page was like the #1 source for Mandalorian stories. They used to be in the joke on the Star Wars show. I kind of miss that. I hope that kind of returns in 2025, Jen. You're making me think about that. This isn't about my hopes, about yours, but your hope has got me excited.
That's what I want. Yeah, I forgot about all those things. It's a nice like way to connect with fans and like, I don't know, the directors, and it just like lets us know that something's happening, and it can just be like a little sliver of a shot of something where people go nuts, and it creates hype and joy, right? It creates a fun environment for us fans. That's, I think, kind of what I'm hopeful for. I think what other people are looking forward to too.
Yeah. No, I'd really agree with that. I think that a part of the thing with this whole sort of conversation about what films may or may not happen, want to like underline, in development means it might happen, but I think because that's not always clarified, I feel like almost every article should be like, by the way, in development means it may or may not happen yet. It's like they're dating and they may or may not get married. Don't buy any presents yet. That my biggest fear from that is just people being bummed out because they legitimately want this movie by this person. They, all the Rian Johnson fans out there who are like, what, that trilogy's like, you announced it 18 years ago. It was 84 years ago, right? And I think that is at the end of the day, like, when my biggest concern about it is I don't want people to be bummed out. I don't want them to get excited about a movie they think is happening that then doesn't. I want them to have exactly what you're talking about, Jennifer, which I hadn't really thought about. Like, remember, like, I think it was pretty soon after season 1, the model of the shirtless Gamorrean.
That's right. Yeah.
That Favreau posted on Instagram, and like people ate off that for weeks.
Give us some.
And that was real. That was like, if Favreau shows you a shirtless Gamorrean on his Instagram, you're gonna see a shirtless Gamorrean, and then you're gonna debate whether or not the Gamorrean's physique is canonical. But it was about something that was happening for real from the creator that is hired for real, and no room for ambiguity of, there aren't people out there, being like, I'm living for shirtless Gamorreans, and then they're disappointed. Yeah. They were teased a shirtless Gamorrean, and they got a shirtless Gamorrean.
Yeah. And then you know what else? You feed the fans, and then guess who else gets fed? The reporters. And, because then, oh my gosh.
There it is. There it is.
Sorry for audio.
That's our hope for Star Wars in 2025 right there.
Sorry for audio listeners. I've paused. Sorry, Jen, I was like, yeah, Jen, this is a great point you brought up. I don't want to speak for you, Joseph, but it's kind of jostling that the cavern of joy I felt in 2014 and 2019. 2.4 million followers. He follows 72. Take that, JJ. His last post was promoting Chef Volume 3 in February 2020. The problem is Jon Favreau left social media. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's become a tricky thing for celebrities, right? Like
Sure. Yeah.
if you do something wrong, it could really have terrible ramifications on your career. But like
Mm-hmm.
posting a photo that gets everyone talking and kind of shuts up the leaks and the rumors, I feel, because they have something to talk about that's like actually from the director. I don't know. I think it's
Yeah.
helpful. I think it's just part of the hype machine nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they should use it.
I think James Gunn. I don't have the dog in the DC fight, but I think he's good at least getting in there. Not always necessarily perfect, but like yeah. Jim Mangold during Dial of Destiny phase, I loved when he was kind of rolling up his sleeves. Like, that's not true. You've never seen it. How do you know?
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro is really great too online, just chatting with people and
Yeah.
giving updates.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he's just great. Final big question for you, Jen. You talk about hopes. Any specific show announcements, movie clarification we've kind of talked about, book shows. We got a lot of questions on live stream Friday about animated shows. Do you have any hopes for those kind of announcements? Official, big time announcements, leaked animated stills. Where
Oh
do
my
you go with
god,
that?
Ewoks reboot, animated reboot. Of course. No, I would say, what's going to surprise me, as I'm not sure. We could get a trailer for Mando and Grogu, like a teaser
Mm-hmm.
trailer, right?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
something, a little something.
absolutely.
And right now, that film to me is like, yeah, it's going to be fine. It's going to be good. I know once I see the footage, I'm going to get excited. And I'm looking forward to that. I always look forward to when Star Wars proves me wrong or reminds me why we're in love. Because because I have a tendency to be like, whatever. And then it pulls me back in, just like with
Mm,
the Force Awakens teaser that we talked about a few weeks ago, right?
yeah,
There's just something about it. And so I'm looking forward to that. Could it be at Celebration? I don't know. Maybe they'll give us a little something.
sure.
Oh, I
Oh
think by
yeah,
celebration there'll be a teaser trailer. The question is, are they going to share it with the world?
right, right.
Oh, gosh dang it.
I
Properly.
would
Not
think
go to
so. They want to build up hype. They want to build up hype.
It's big. It's the first movie back. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I agree. Absolutely
It's
agree
gonna
with
have been 3 years. It's fine for us to be like, oh, Mando and Grogu, yeah, but it's gonna have been 3 years
that.
because Mando season 3 was 2023, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
it was broadcasting during the last Star Wars celebration
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
in 2023.
Yep.
wow.
Given that none of us could remember the correct date at the beginning of the podcast, I want to make sure that I'm saying the correct year.
Yeah. Yeah. At this point, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I love it, Jen. And what you're talking about too. Look, hey, one of the pieces of advice I got in relationships years ago was about 10 years you have to roll over and fall in love with your partner all over again because changes life, everything. And we've been in love with Star Wars for 40 plus years now. You go through some changes. And 10 years ago, it was a new like whoa, and I think I'm at that point too, and I'm so hopeful for the years. And even you talk about, I agree with you. A Mandalorian and Grogu like full teaser would be great because even what's out there already. There's that one shot that was in that mini teaser of Zeb, right? The reveal of Zeb. It looks so good, and I saw that the other day on a Google search and was like, yeah, that's right. I'm looking forward to that. That's joy, pure joy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jen, any other final thoughts for 2025? Spotlight is yours.
No, that's it. That's all I got.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
It's a
I'm
lot.
getting ready. Getting
Getting
ready
ready.
for battle.
Getting ready for that.
Get
Like,
ready.
like any Star Wars fan should. All right. Well, we've done that. We've looked ahead. We've looked at rumors. A holiday week, more to come. So there you go. That's my final thought. Joseph, your final thought on the Star Wars world as we head into the new year.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I might have mentioned this on the live stream. I don't remember. I think it kind of goes in line with what Jen is saying. I think Star Wars can be a lot of things. It can be just entertainment and distraction and going into fun rabbit holes with weird aliens and all that stuff and collecting. But I think the message that it's always been built on and is very good at delivering is just actually hope of like imagine in the darkest time where you feel most alone, you're not.
Mm.
We're all connected, and those are the most powerful moments to me from in Star Wars when somebody is at their absolute lowest, and someone else, the galaxy, lifts them up and is there for them and reminds them that they're not alone. And I mean, I think I listed a bunch of very specific hopes, from action figures to animated series to announcements. Do this, do that. But at the end of the day, I just want Star Wars to make me feel that again, because I think I'm going to need that, and I think the world's going to need that, is to truly feel that hope of, like, I need a moment where my beliefs are and convictions are supported and seen by this great galaxy of storytelling.
Absolutely. Sentiment I share as well. So there you go. Jen, thank you for letting us catch up with your hopes for 2025. We're out of here today. We are going to be reviewing Skeleton Crew a day or two later this week, actually 2 days later than normal, because of, the holiday. And Joseph deserves a damn vacation. I'll say it like a newsman. Damn it. And we all do, but I know you're going to be getting away, and that's why we let you know that our Skeleton Crew report will come on Friday of this week. You can find us on social media, ForceCenter Pod, Facebook pages, ForceCenter Podcast, Instagram, YouTube. Subscribe here, hit that notification bell so you don't miss things like I did a vertical live this morning, accidentally 6 minutes early because I pressed my screen like an old man, and suddenly I was live. But thank you for those that joined as we previewed the week ahead. And you can find us as a podcast in a lot of spots: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn. Actually, no, Stitcher. That's old. I got to get that out. Not true anymore. Merch available at tpublic.com/user/ForceCenter or Fourth Wall Shop. Link down below on YouTube. Patreon.com/ForceCenter where you can support us. Thank you to those that have helped us reach our goals lately. Follow me at Ken Napzok. Like I said, ticket information on my website for my headlining show, Hot Burbank Nights, Friday night, January 10th, 7:30. Joseph Scrimshaw on the lineup. Winston A. Marshall, Karen Haber, Lisa Phillips, Lisa Gottman. And I want you all to come out. So let us know if you're coming out so we can see you and have a Force Center party there. Jen, where can I find you?
You can find me and my Lisa Frank little mini TikTok documentary that I did. If you like the Lisa Frank doc series on Amazon, check it out. It's on TikTok at Jennifer Landa 1138. And I think I also posted it on Instagram at Jennifer Landa. That's it.
There you go.
Yes.
Jennifer Landa, 1A in that Landa. So take us home. I know you rolled up you're in post production already, but you haven't rolled up your sleeves yet. You're taking a little break, right? Where are we
I started doing a little bit of editing physically on my computer, and a lot in my dreams. I had a long editing dream last night, and getting back to it when we're done recording a little bit for the new year. Thank you for everyone who has supported this film, including Ken and Jennifer, who helped me get it done in lots of different ways, but really kept the Force Center lights on with me away for a while. I really appreciate it. If you'd like to help support the film, there's a link on my website to where you can make a tax-free donation to the film, which will help me complete the post-production. That is on my website, josephscrimshaw.com. Other than that, I'm looking forward to January 10th coming real soon, Ken. So I'm going to start working on my comedy words for Ken's big show.
Work on it. Usually I work on it in the car on the way there, so I'm trying not to do that in the new year. I'm trying to work on things. All right, that is it. We'll see you next time here on Force Center.